is not really the scariest thing, but certainly a stable laner to say the very least. Lina offers them a bit of firepower that they were lacking a little bit before to bring someone into that Reaper Scythe kill range. And so certainly a nice pickup as well. Some decent heroes to deal with Lina though on the opposite side. Aside from Slardar with Sprint Up, they are a pretty tanky lineup against magic damage. Flame Guard to the Ember Spirit. The raw HP of the Doom is much better than most people give him credit for, and Bane certainly tanky for a support. So I don't mind them giving away the Lina at this point. Perhaps the Darkseer a little bit tougher to give away, at least in terms of their laning stage, and maybe they don't want to put that Slardar up against the Darkseer in lane.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah. So the other interesting thing, they banned out the Witch Doctor, the Lion.
Reserve time.
I'm really not sure where things are going. I'm still not sure whether this is a safe lane Doom or not. I always wonder how well the safe lane Doom scales, especially as you mentioned, a lot of single target. And generally, here's how you handle a Doom is you pick 3 cores, because that way Doom can Doom one of them. He can even Doom 2 of them if he gets a refresher, and you just don't care. So it is gonna either safe lane Slaughter or safe lane Doom. Either one works. I don't feel like Doom's strong enough to solo off lane right now, just because he's very squishy, of course, with that 0 armor, because otherwise he'd be a bit too strong. He can, though, just solo off lane if it's too hard, hop into the enemy jungle.
Definitely so. Do they sacrifice either the Slardar or the Doom here and look for kill potential with the Bane and the Rubik onto the Darkseer? Or do they just allow the Darkseer to have his farm and just keep a support there in lane so that he really has no kill potential, and try for this aggressive dual lane with either a Bane Slardar or a Bane Doom? I feel like that's the biggest question at this point. I feel like it's pretty much set in stone that the Ember is going to go towards that mid lane. But really, do they want that early Blink Dagger on the Slardar or the Doom? Which are they going to prioritize is kind of a big deal, and I feel like a lot of that decision is going to bank on what this final pickup is here from Greece's side. I doubt that they'll put Necro and Lina in a core role, because you would expect the Darkseer to be there in a core role. So those 3 being in the core would probably not scale well enough into the late game, especially up against the Doom. For them, so it should be probably a hard carry at this point. But the Lion ban from the US maybe indicates that they do expect this Lina to go towards the mid lane with a dual Necrophos IO lane, and probably the Darkseer solo.
Yeah. I'm also just okay, it's an Earthshaker. This is interesting. I'm not saying it's good or bad, it's interesting. I guess I'm just a little bit hesitant. I feel like they, again, are suffering on the side of Greece of not having someone who comes online for right-click at a very good time window. Yes, you have Fiery Soul on Lina, but we see Lina's really prefer to go that Ags, Bloodstone, Refresher, Octarine build over something like getting an, getting damage items. So I don't know. I don't know how this game is going to go at all looking at these teams.
It's very part of me wants to reserve judgment as well, but it's very peculiar that versus an Ember Spirit and a Doom, 2 heroes who are notoriously weak against physical damage, you really heavily commit to this magic damage strategy. I mean, they're both heroes that can soak up quite a bit, so it is a little bit worrisome, certainly, to say the least, but we'll see how they fare. They are going to probably rely on some early game to get their momentum going early game before really this Ember comes online, before Doom gets up one of his big items, and before Slardar starts to tank up a bit.
Definitely. And it's something where Slaughter, depending on where he's going, Slaughter is being played by Lorcan. I can't remember who he was on last.
He was on Undying, so that right now,
yeah,
indicates this, and BSJ picking up the Doom, as we alluded to early on in the draft. This is something he's continuing to gain comfort with, and he's been scrimming with it. He's been playing with it in pubs, so certainly is no stranger to the safe lane Doom. But yeah, over on the Radiant side, may as well introduce him. Heck's gonna go back for his game 1 Bane once again. We're gonna see Frozen pick up the Arubic. That'll be BSJ, Banana Slam Jamma on the safe lane Doom, Lokarn on the Slardar, and finally Slayer is going to pick up that mid lane Imba Spirit.
Yeah, and on the side for Greece, we're going to be having Relax on that Darkseer, Saucy, which is also actually sneaky on the Necrophos. We've got Ill on the Earthshaker, Spartan playing Io, and finally Thug on Lena. Gonna be interesting this mid matchup. Lena did receive some nerfs, which now makes it harder for her to knock off the Flame God. At the same time, Ember Spirit is a hero that generally loses the laning phase, so you just kind of suck it up that you're gonna lose that.
Yeah, they have some pretty decent roam potential on the Radiant side with the Rubik Bane combo. Some good movement speed early on for that Bane. Already actually picked up boots first on Hex, so they definitely have some roam potential for their Ember Spirit around that level 3 mark. Once he picks up 2 levels in that Flame Guard, it actually does quite a bit of damage early on, so they certainly have some kill potential if they rotate over to that mid lane. But yeah, the lane is slanted pretty heavily towards Lena's side despite the nerfs. So gonna have perhaps an engagement bottom. They're gonna catch a Nightmare out onto Saucy, and the crush is actually gonna miss. And now with the tether through the Searing Chains, though, gonna land on a couple right clicks. Will it be enough through the tether sustain? It is. Saucy gonna drop for the first blood. Spartan looks like he'll be next on the menu, and with the boots first right clicks from Hex and one more coming out from Slayer. Again, a great start out of the gate for the US, moving as 5, and they find 2 picks in that bot lane. And now they'll certainly be well aware that there was some dewarding going on from the Wisp as he tethered from that west side. Do they have sentries available to them? They actually do not. One already dropped down, so I'm not going to be able to deward that anytime soon, but I'm sure they're well aware of its positioning.
Yeah, I also find it hilarious that the Slithering Crush missed. I don't know if folks, if you mouse over it, it is huge. It's AoE's like... It's ridiculous. A lot of folks, it got buffed in, I think, 6.83 or 8.4 or something, and it is actually the biggest. Earthshaker's going to fissure up the creep wave. Didn't expect this. This is an aggro try in this bottom lane. Something I wanted to talk about with Doom that I don't think we touched on. The nice thing about Doom, when you have other supports in his lane, you can have him rotate to the jungle for a bit, like not just to eat a creep and so on, but it gives more experience overall to everyone involved in that lane, which can generally help you. But they're running an aggro try, and I really didn't expect this. And actually now Doom's just rotating up top, realizing he might, well, thinking he's going to get better form up against Relax, but I don't think he will against the Doxia. Relax taking quite a few auto attacks, but he should be just fine. He's already level 2. He can run away if needed. He actually pops an Ion Shell on himself and now is doing good work onto Lorcan. He could also surge away, but Lorcan just kind of wandering around is going to eventually just TP out, and that's like... He wanted to
He does TP to bot
anyway.
lane. Yeah, so it's not a huge detriment, but actually...
rotations.
Yeah, first item boots once again, paying dividends for Hex, and he'll actually find that Dire Courier.
Telekinesis up in bottom lane, but now Doxia running around. He could, he doesn't manage to get close enough to Frozen, and Frozen pops up a salve. They lifted Sneaky there, thinking about getting a kill on the Necrophos, but could not. And now we have Io versus Doom in this top lane. I don't know what's going on
What
here.
are these lanes?
I feel like they're in the process of rotating, and it's just looking really silly right now.
My eyes.
Like, Necro with a Doxia? That doesn't make any sense. So
Hex chasing the Earthshaker back towards mid lane with that boots first advantage.
Thanks.
Early on, he still really hasn't had his farm stifled all that much, and they're controlling the lane fairly well with Frozen's Rubik, so BSJ should be able to find his farm. Thug doing as well as you would expect him to mid lane, but Slayer doing very well in terms of what you would expect him to in this matchup, already picking up 9 CS, pretty much tied up with that Lena.
Yeah, he's actually doing like way better than the Lena, also because of the early kills, so really nice for Slayer. The other thing I wanted to mention that I hadn't really thought about, but Doom, he's not doing it here, but if the Doxia does come back top, he can just eat the creep. I mean, Devour has a hella long cooldown, but it's something that'll make his laning a little bit easier. In the meantime, in bottom, okay, lanes have returned to what they once were. I'm super confused, but Grease deciding they don't need to rotate. I don't know how their kill potential is. It's always hard when a Bane is there, but if you go on the Bane directly, you should have good odds. Slaughter is tanky, Bane is not. So.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lack of catch, but maybe the movement speed mitigates kind of what that does to their kill potential.
Up top, we might have a telekinesis. There it is. A lot of this surge timing is going to be gone, and with the buff to the move speed, Doom going to get another kill. That Scorched Earth doing work. Just no way Doxia could get away.
Yeah, already looking to max it up as BSJ, as you would expect him to. And yeah, has been really the beneficiary of all this early game And Slayer going to take quite a bit of damage mid lane. Has this haste rune though, so feeling pretty safe. And he should be able to back off fairly reliably here. Yeah, doing well with that early level advantage, as you mentioned, off of the kills. Frozen also stalking mid lane with level 3. Thug pretty low on mana as well. His bottle presumably returning on the courier now, and yeah, it seems to be the case. Or actually maybe just picking it up for the first time is Thug. So we'll walk over to that 4-minute rune, and Frozen going to be able to intercept him 6 seconds now till that rune spawn, and he's going to be chased completely away from it.
And the courier
coming through is a little bit vulnerable. Has the bottle on it, but now he's going to get caught with the Sleight of Fist Searing Chains. That early point in the Sleight of Fist paid dividends for Slayer there, and they are going to secure a regen rune on the Ember Spirit on top of it. This early game going very swimmingly for the US side.
It's already a over 2,000, probably going to be 3,000 with that kill net worth lead. Now, it is something that one team fight can turn it around, but Ember Spirit shouldn't get off to this fantastic of a start. He doesn't have lane presence, and the fact that he is means it makes it easier for him to snowball. Usually he has to play catch-up to get that, maybe the drums, maybe the Battle Fury first, depending on how he wants to build, but he is feeling very secure right now, and just, it means that your IO Wisp not going to be as successful. So.
Yeah, it's definitely
Sorry,
so.
Not IO Wisp, your IO plus whoever.
IO Wisp, strong combo to say the least.
Yeah, it's double heal. You
double,
heal each other.
Double balls in your face, but either way.
Exactly. It's like 10 balls.
Yeah, Slayer is given way too much in this early game, and probably by virtue of those early kills. But top lane, they're stalking Relax once again. He has enough for a surge, but Telekinesis is there. And they even got the Nightmare on top of it. So that's a dead Darkseer Thunderclap for the nail in the coffin coming out from BSJ's Doom. And a chuckle on top of that. He'll pick up his chainmail here. So BSJ doing very well thus far. What do you feel like that build is? It's an early Vlad's. He's already got the Bassi up. It's kind of odd to see him pick up this chainmail airline. Could be a medallion on the Doombringer.
No, he's got Buckler recipe.
Okay.
So it is an early Vlad's. Maybe an early mech, actually, probably. Yeah. That's really common on Doom. And they're trying to go for the tower push on bottom, you know, kind of their way of saying, look, our other lanes aren't working out so well, but we'll just push down bottom tower. But now they're taking a lot of tower damage, getting a little bit low on the mana. There is the Nightmare coming out onto Sneaky. And now they're going on the Wisp. This is a smart choice, but Sneaky wakes up, does have a heal up, but the Doom comes out because Banana Slam Jammer is level 6. And now they're just going to walk down Sneaky. No way he can get away. The bonus move speed, the Doom burning, no one around to deny him. So a fantastic use of that first Doom of the game.
7-0 for the United States in this one, and getting off to even a better start than they did in game 1, if that was at all possible. And IO +1, definitely a combo that really wants some momentum underneath their heels, and they have not been able to pick up any of that, and that's perhaps by virtue of their laning decision here, leaving this Necro out to dry in this bottom lane. And a good rotation over from BSJ as soon as he picks up that level 6. As you mentioned, going to net them a couple of kills there. Hex looking to continue to zone out this combo. He's going to Nightmare up Saucy, but really no follow-up until just yet. BSJ going to return to top lane, and the Rubik doing himself a bit of roaming towards that mid lane.
Yeah. Something I'm a little bit surprised about is not more rotations I mean, yes, IO isn't level 6, but it feels like you have Alina who is, you could do some rotations. Actually, a super deep dive, they're trying to go on this Nightmaring Bane, but he is just walking away from them, and they're not going to get the Bane or the Slaughter. Laguna Blade might come out, though. Laguna Blade plus, oh, they don't have level 6 on the Necrophos, though, so not much they can do here, but here comes the Dragon Slave, and this is more than enough. She actually uses the Laguna Blade there. Ember Spirit's walking about, coming on the back line. They get the power in bottom. I don't know if they can catch up to Bane. They need a Light Strike Array of Dreams. They have to land it. It's slightly off the mark, but they should have enough with auto attack damage, even with that brain sap. So they managed to get finally on the board with 2 kills, but here comes Ember Spirit. He's gonna use that remnant and he does so much damage. Wisp gets healed up by the Necrophos Death Pulse, and they're gonna be okay. I actually thought Wisp was gonna explode.
Slayer did find a kill mid lane in the meantime, but either way, good engagement for Grease to get on the board and back into this one. It has given some space over to Frozen's Rubik, though, who's now 7.5 minutes into the game, picked up his level 6, and certainly there's a wide array of useful spells for him to steal on the other side. Could set up his own LSA. Of course, the Fisher, always extremely valuable on the Rubik with that no-cast animation.
Yeah. So this game is full, chock-a-block full of things for Rubik that would love to steal with no cost points, so gonna be a nice game for him. Although showing some signs of life finally on Grease. IO is getting to 6, so, Sneaky is finally 6. Hasn't, oh there we go, there's the Reaper's Scythe getting skilled, and up top though, they have Doomed up Relax, Doom moving like a race car, which you don't normally expect out of him. We do see some TPs, but they're not gonna do anything to the Doom. I think the Fissure Block needed there, but nope, just gonna surge away on the Rubik, and I think Also, Doom just gonna be having a fun time. Relax goes down anyway. They finally fissure up. Oh, he's got like 1 health, so there's no way out. And Doom does manage to kill him off, but with more rotations, they should be able to kill off Banana Slam Jammer.
Hatchet in 1 second. And
he
he will
does
be able
have
to make it through
Hatchet.
the
Oh my
tree.
goodness.
Fisher
How long
is
till the
not
Fisher?
available. It's well short of the mana. And Thug gonna have to hit a LSA free-handed here, but is a little bit out of range. And yeah, BSJ, even without those arcane boots, more than enough. He's actually going to look to turn this. Fisher going to come up soon now and is available. It's going to block him off on the wrong side, though. LSA is there with the Laguna Blade. BSJ, though, with way too much raw HP. Fisher stolen onto 2. It's going to be a triple kill, effectively, for BSJ after bringing out that Darkseer. And, I mean, this is something we mentioned in the draft. They're just so resistant to magical damage on this Radiant side. Meanwhile, Slayer going to pick up the Spartan IO bottom lane. Saucy left completely to his own devices. Brain Sap will bring him down 13-2. 5 kills across the map for the US side and no trade in sight for Greece.
Yeah, so a very fantastic start for this USA side. They are pulling ahead probably by 5,000, maybe even more. I think that they need to... Greece needs to start looking into some smoke rotations. They need a way to get back into this game. They haven't had a relocate even happen yet, I believe. It's something where a smoke, a relocate gank, they need to just pick isolated people, even if it's just these supports, given how far behind you are, killing them off will be valuable. And here it is, here's a relocate, but they're going for Banana Slam Jammer. He might be a bit too tanky. Oh, they have the Reaper sight, but he's still not dead. There is the Fissure coming out, hoping to do something as well. Banana Slam Jammer still walking away, taking a lot of damage on that IO. There's the Nightmare. There's going to be a Slitherine Crush. The relocate will come out and it sends both of them back home, but now Earthshaker and
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Extinguish. Only death satisfies dishonor.
You become feast for flesh flies.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Or even the Necrophos, any of the 3 could have farmed this up pretty reliably. And now the Grieve's going to come out for BSJ, so he will opt to drop the cooldown a bit on that mechanism and also help out with that no mana cost. Doom a little bit mana hungry as a hero, so Greaves nice early pickup for him, and we'll transition into another item a little bit later on. Just an illusion top, not going to be caught by Slayer there and Hex, but they are really controlling the tempo, walking around in the enemy side of the map right now, and the only heroes that feel safe enough to be elsewhere are the ones with a relocate in their back pocket.
Feeling a little out of control for this Greece lineup, but no, they're gonna actually hit the Light Strike Array on Banana Slam Jammer. They used the Laguna Blade, not nearly enough, but there's a relocate in the back lines. They also use the Reaper Sight, but Doom takes barely any damage. Io immediately picked off. There is the Fiend's Grip out on Sneaky, and Sneaky probably gonna take a lot of damage here. Does manage to get the Light Strike Array off to cancel that Fiend's Grip, but Sneaky still taking huge amounts of damage. Here comes the Remnant in with the Sleight of Fist. Sneaky getting out with tiny amounts of health, immediately pops a salve. I think he was down to like 20.
Yeah.
Wisp has brought back as well. it feels like they pulled their spells a little too early on the lineup of Greece. Maybe a little miscommunication. I think they needed Wisp balls to also hit the Doom to get anything done there. So
yeah, BSJ blowing up the escape car early on, dooming up that IO, so not allowing them to retreat. Unfortunately, they don't find the kill onto Sneaky's Necro, who was able to make it away with a slither of HP. But once the buyback was forced out, they kind of just back off, retreat, and content with their spoils. And they can look to reset and fight once again. So no big losses there for the Radiant side. BSJ able to survive through once again with all that raw HP. Any of the damage output coming out from the Dire side, and really the lack of right click is rearing its ugly head for them. Slayer bottom, gonna catch a slat of Fist Searing Chains combo here, but should be more than safe. Has a defensive remnant up right now, so Slayer feeling good in lane.
Yeah. And looking at these item pickups, Sosi has a vitality booster. This, of course, could be the Bloodstone. We've seen that before. Necrophos. Oh, he actually just bought a Blink. Okay. I wasn't sure if it was going to be maybe something like the Atos. Not something I'm in love with here, but it does give you a huge amount of very cheap int. And it's a great, it can be a great item since they are having trouble securing these kills. But instead, oh, we have another relocate gank. Gonna be coming out on Bane, taking some balls to the face, immediately dropping the hammer. They do get this kill, but not with the Reaper's Scythe. And feeling still a little bit preemptive on those, although it does hold someone in place.
I mean, it's nighttime and they don't have vision uphill, so just a little bit worried, I suppose, and they drop it a bit early, like you mentioned. But they will be able to bring down the kill nonetheless. The bot lane, though, they're gonna relocate back into a world of trouble, perhaps. Slayer, actually, they're gonna catch a few too many balls there, and we'll have to back off, but Spirit's doing enough damage to him. He did go for those early boots of travel, so really looking to turn around these relocates on that Ember Spirit, and will hereafter build into his Battle Fury. But right now, a little bit lacking on the damage side without his Slardar and Doom nearby. Speaking of the Slardar, kind of quietly finding some farm. Unfortunately, has died a couple of times, so hasn't been able to rush that Blink Dagger, and will instead go for this Force Staff, which has a little bit of an easier build up. But he's not too far off of that at this point.
So they take top tower. In the meantime, lickety split for Doom with the Blink Guardian Greaves. And Slaughter, he is working on his Force Staff. His farm hasn't been fantastic. That's kind of what you expect for this utility slot. But still really valuable, that Force Staff. Oh goodness, they're going in on Relax, taking huge amounts of damage. Level Depth, that's doing so much. He's trying to surge away, but with that Scorched Earth, Doom is a race car as well. Relax is maybe getting away. Where's the Laguna Blade? It's gonna come out on Slaughter, finishes him off. Again, we're seeing this, like, he sprints to try and catch up, and then Lena happens to be there, even though Thug is only level 10.
Yeah, so. I mean, without your Doom available and no vision behind him at all, I feel like it's a little bit, of an ambitious play. That's certainly the word for it. Relocate mid lane. Actually going to be cancelled out.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, I see, and then I don't see, so... It does put it on cooldown, so kind of interesting. And they're actually going in on the Bane, just Necro going there. Doesn't have any way of slowing him down. The Nightmare does come up. Oh, Wisp actually tethers up on right on top of a ward. This could be bad. There's the Fiend's Grip. Wisp has nothing he can do. Wisp probably gonna pop here. Dragon Slave coming out. Now the Remnant's going over to blow up Necrophos. Wisp actually trying to get out now, but taking some balls to the face from Rubik, and really just unfortunate positioning that occurred there, I feel like.
Great timing on the Nightmare as well.
Yeah.
So. It's a really nice turnaround, knowing that no longer the Wisp being there. Hex just turns for the grip, and coming through with the Greaves was BSJ there to keep him alive. So now they'll mount up a push finally and try to take down this last tier 1 tower for the Dire side. It'll give them a nice influx of gold. Ember Spirit and BSJ both sitting on a great amount of farm. Jump forward with the Doom onto Thug. Fissure gonna keep him at bay for now, but the chase forward is there. Slayer gonna find the Sleight of Fist, Searing Chains, and with the Doom they'll be able to take down him easily. Ill goes in for the deny, and it's gonna cost him his life as well. 2 free kills going their way, and should be an easy tier 1 on top of that. Relax gonna rotate in. TPs are abound as well from the Necrophos. Hex is already here though, and a jump forward with Saucy and Spartan. Spartan's gonna get almost completely blown up. The mech will keep him alive for now. The Reaper Scythe won't be able to bring down the Bane. And now Slayer and everyone's still looking pretty healthy. The Searing Chains luckily will hit onto the Darkseer, but the Death Pulse finishes off the Bane, and now TPs are in from the Earthshaker as well. Everyone just trying to disengage. Nice telekinesis onto the high ground on the Necrophos, and now Saucy completely all by his lonesome. Frozen will be able to TP out and sprint away from the Slardar as well. Nice Force Staff onto his Rubik to ensure his safety there.
We need to talk about this Darkseer because he's done something I hadn't realized. Although maybe we don't get a chance, they're gonna find him. The Doom is not up, but Sneaky, you don't want to be here. Wisp is relocating in though with some help. Earthshaker can't do anything. Steering chains have hit. Does manage to finally fissure. Doesn't have level 6 yet, so can't even use that Echo Slam. Another vacuum, but into nothing. Finally getting healed up on Ill, so he's not gonna go down yet. The relocate saving his life. Sneaky maybe gonna try to do something to this Slaughter. Can they find him? They blink forwards. They know where the Slaughter is. Will take amp damage because of that running away, and they should be able to figure out where he is. But Lena needs to Laguna Blade, doesn't have it on cooldown. Gonna get lifted up, gonna be Glimmer Capes, probably gonna be fine on the Slaughter. Actually, they're still going in. The aggressive blink forward again by Sneaky, but maybe not the time. There are 4 now. There is an Earthshaker fissure. It's gonna work a little bit onto the Bane. They managed to pick off Hex, and yeah. I was gonna say, this Darkseer, level 11, still doesn't have his ult. It's not okay to build it that way when you're having so much aggression brought to you. He did a 4-man vacuum in that last team fight with a wall. Would have killed a lot of people, or would have killed more people, brought them lower, allowed his team to get more pickoffs. It's just not, it's not something you really do on Darkseer anymore. He should pick it up now. Yeah, he finally gets a point in wall. Maybe it was a miss skill, but it is actually just wrong on this patch to do that.
Yeah,
So.
definitely in the circumstances in this game as well, but Slayer did find some space in that mid lane, despite having the boots of travel. Didn't want to return to that engagement. A little bit too chaotic, perhaps, but now only needing the hatchet for that full battle fury. 19 minutes in isn't too bad. Bot lane, Reaper Scythe comes out, and they're going to find the Slardar, though. TP's in with the Fiend's Grip onto Saucy. The relocate should be available, and there's really no support inbound just yet. Holding onto that relocate is Spartan. Frozen going to come through. He actually steals the Reaper Scythe once again for the 2nd time in this one. And will be there, but shouldn't be enough to bring him down. The relocate out is there as well, well timed.
They're gonna come back in. I don't know if they're bringing 2, but if they bring 2, they're suddenly dead because Ember Spirit's coming here. No, they're not bringing 2. It's just goodbye, Wisp. Goodbye, little Wisp. It was nice knowing you, and you're dead. Actually taking a surprising amount of time to die. They have to even Nightmare him up. There's the telekinesis, and Wisp is finally deaded. But, yeah, just maybe a little too aggressive, but giving away this Reaper Scythe again, no, maybe I shouldn't say giving it away. You only have 2 spells, and this Frozen is playing very well on the Rubik. So, props to Frozen.
Yeah, he hit 2 LSAs in that last fight as well. They're going to find a Sleight of Fist Searing Chains on the Earshaker.
They're actually going in on top as well on the Doom, and now Doom may finally fall. So that's a big kill for them, but as you mentioned, Earthshaker dies in the mid to the Sleight of Fist Searing Chains.
Yeah, definitely Doom a much bigger kill here, but a little curious to see BSJ that far out by his lonesome. Had the Greaves and the Blink though, so feeling a little bit of hubris perhaps, and is going to be picked off either way. Does pick up the point booster before dying on the way to his Aghanim, so not too much gold lost there. Thug's going to catch a Sleight of Fist Searing Chains mid lane. He's going to take a lot of burn damage to the Flame Guard, and they just telekinesis him up, sap him, and bring him down, and that's a big kill for him to be all about by his lonesome here. Saucy with the Reaper Scythe jumps forward mid lane. It's going to force out a Remnant from the Ember Spear, but everyone going to be able to disengage fairly cleanly, and very nice kill after their Doom is brought down onto Thug, who has been shut down pretty heavily thus far. Does pick up all the components of his Yule, still going to need the recipe in order to finish that off.
All things considered, I'm actually pretty impressed with this Grease lineup. They've stemmed the bleeding somewhat. There was a huge lead for the USA team at 10 minutes. Usually we do see that type of thing snowball, especially with Ember getting so big so fast. They've still got a rough road ahead of them, right? But they've done a good job of getting some key pickoffs and working to get back into this. And now Sneaky getting some semblance of farm does end up going the Atos that we talked about. It is cheap, quick in, and actually what's going on over here? They're gonna be fine. Darkseer was like looking around, but decided not to go on this jungle action. So.
And they know the entire lineup of the Dire is down here as BSJ was running through the Dire jungle, trying to find a Doom target. So they back off pretty much everyone from top lane. Frozen is gonna get a telekinesis up onto the Whips. He's gonna run back forward. Now BSJ has arrived. Does have the Doom available. The Scythe was gonna be there onto the Wisp, but he gets to relocate out in time. Saucy though is gonna get crushed up. Yes, he is. TP cancelled, and now that's a free Necrophos kill. They'll get the bigger of the 2, and not only that, they hold on to their Doom as well, so they will have that for the next engagement. Bot lane.
Yeah, in bottom though, he doesn't. Oh, they actually do get the Yules. They might be able to catch this. It's really hard on an Remnant. Yeah, you have to have perfect timing because Remnant is instant. I'm not actually sure if Remnant's instant, but it's very close to instant. So yeah, so you have to have the perfect Yules Life Strike Array timing. Didn't quite catch it, but still a good attempt. Although Ember Spirit, what? No. He's not thinking about going. He doesn't have... Where is his next Remnant? I don't see one out, so maybe actually re-engaging on him since the Yules is back off cooldown could be the way to play it, and they are grouped up like they're gonna go.
He has one at tower. Yeah, he has one at tower, so...
The fissure just too late.
Yeah, so Ember going to be safe for now, and they're going to put some pressure into this top lane. So Dire side do need to make a decision fairly soon on whether they're going to run back to defend or look to continue the aggression. But it looks like, at least for now, Relax is going to give his attention over to this top lane where BSJ is forcing the wave in. And so the Darkseer for now going to have to back into the fog, keep himself safe. Lokarn really hasn't had much farm to speak of on this Slardar. Very much so playing that utility role that you spoke of earlier on. 1700 gold in his pockets though, so maybe continuing to save for a blink here despite having the 4 staff. And looking to farm up a little bit of aggressively, but BSJ behind him should be able to support him if the need arises. Soul booster on the Doom. You expect this to be a Bloodstone?
Oh, we have a relocate in because Thug had been caught out by the Bane. Looks like they should get the Bane kill instead, and Thug will not go down. Hex trading his life, but at the same time, top lane, Doom has doomed up Relax. Banana Slam Jammer going in hand. There's the 4-staff Slithering Crush. We've got some supports rotating, but I fear that Doxy are probably already dead. There's a nice Echo Slam, buying him some time, but this Doom, it's not a super low level one. It might not actually even kill him, but now, Loken taking a lot of damage. Where is that Laguna Blade? It's there, but she realizes she doesn't need it this time. Doom in their base, still going ham. Do they have any way to stop him? They do. They have the vacuum. Finally, the wall is dropped. Relax now, bring in some of that Hodem, but Banana Slam Jammer has overextended.
Yeah, odd to see them go that deep. Slayer mid lane. Gonna get Yules up. Fisher's gonna drop, so he should be able to get out easily. And he will be able to do so. But yeah, very much so an overextension all around, kind of all around the map. And letting Greece walk back into this one slowly. Tower gonna be denied. Mid lane at the tier 1 by Frozen, so no immediate objective going to be taken off these couple of kills, and their Roshan lineup pretty it's a pretty poor one, yeah, to say the least. So
they actually got almost a 4,000 net worth swing just off of that team fight, so they really are making good strides to get back into it. And it's something where, while we don't view Necrophos maybe as a hard carry, he has this other component. It's that Ag's ulti where, oh, we are having engagement in middle. We have the, no, everything's gonna calm down. Okay, Necrophos with the Ag's ulti, he can do this strange thing where he just knocks someone out of the game for 2 minutes or whatever as the game progresses, and that can just lead you into winning, right? You can just push in 2 minutes.
Delete button, certainly nothing to overlook for the Dire side once he's able to pick that up. And looks like he'll go for a Shiva's beforehand, but certainly Aghanim's part of the build for Necro at some point. So bot lane, yeah, they are going to find out.
But Lina dead it, and they actually Reaper Scythe her. Oh.
Yeah, so the extra cooldown timer is going to keep her on the sidelines for about 1.5 minutes, and that's going to open the window for the Roshan. So they will be able to immediately take an objective off that. It was scouted out by the Dire, perhaps from this high ground ward, but with the amp damage, they should be able to bring this down fairly reliably, and they'll even drop some vision up on the high ground with the Bane. So they'll be well aware of any rotations over. It doesn't look like, with their Lina on the sidelines, the Dire are willing to contest.
Yeah. So quick Roshan, gonna fall. Dire maybe thinking about doing something. Actually, they're relocating in. What is this craziness? They're gonna hit a lot of bolts to the base. They actually get everybody up onto the high ground with that beautiful vacuum. It's gonna help out. It means that Bane is probably gonna fall eventually. Hex does go down, managed to get the suicide with the Nightmare, but Roshan hasn't fallen yet. Slayer getting very low. Needs to be careful if Roshan bashes him up, and if they can just find him with the auto attacks or even just the death, or he actually remnants back, but he remnants back into an Earthshaker, and there is a Dragon Slave to finish him off. Doxy had fantastic vacuums. Relax has actually landed fantastic vacuums, and now that the wall is up, more prominent, and we said they had a bad Rosh lineup, but when Rosh is already down to a fifth of his health, it's a little bit easier.
Yeah, free Roshan, massive engagement for Greece, more or less keeping their hopes alive for the winners bracket in this playoffs with that play there. And yeah, picking up the early travels. Slayer maybe a little bit less tanky than he wanted to be in that engagement, but just altogether, it's really all on the Darkseer. And now with a massive vacuum, they get the Reaper Scythe off onto the Doom as well. So big cooldown or respawn timer up onto the Doom. And really, Lokarn just really not very effective on this Slardar in most of these engagements. So it feels like kind of a dual core lineup here for the Radiant. But altogether, Frozen unable to make the massive plays he has been able to make on his Rubik throughout the game thus far. And Relax going to be the hero of that one. So that's almost going to net... bring everything to equilibrium in terms of the metrics. I mean, 2,500 gold lead from almost 10k for the US, and now even the experience is in the favor of Greece.
Yeah. The other thing I'm a little bit surprised about is Necro does look to be going probably as Shiva's next.
Yep.
I understand it's certainly not a bad item against a lot of these strong right-click heroes you want to tank up, but Axe also affords you a bit of tanking up, and it really just, the buff to Reaper Scythe seems very valuable in this game.
Yeah, and
but
realistically, how scary is the right click from the opposite side? I mean, you do have your Sleight of Fist, but I mean, Doom and Slardar, considering Slardar's farm at least, really not much. But yeah, Shiva's looking to mitigate the amplified damage, I suppose. Isn't a terrible choice. I would have liked to see the Aghanims as well, but yeah, he's had this playmill for quite a while now, so at least looking for that value playmill, if not the full Shivas.
yeah. So, I think it's probably just a reaction to the fact that, like, even Bane, with his, what, 70... Oh, it's at 82 damage now, is, like, able to help right-click them down just because of amp damage. Like,
Right.
there have been some ridiculous things where people on the Grease lineup should have been able to get away, but amp damage said no. Are they thinking about ganking Banana Slam Jammer again? We do have Ill poking his head around and Thug, but I don't know whether between the two of them, this Doom is tanky. He is going an... I'm assuming that's an Octarine, not a Bloodstone.
Yeah, for the reduced cooldown for sure. Yeah, it's odd to see either of the two come out on the Doom, but Octarine does seem to make more sense. Jump forward though, Echo Slam, Relocate gonna come through as well. Thug is on top of them, and Reaper Scythe brings him down for a minute and a half with no buyback. Not that it's an items upgrade, but can't afford it at this point, and it's gonna be a quick tier 2 off of that as well. So still having the Aegis, I believe. Yep, on to Saucy. On the Dire side, they can maybe look to poke high ground, but it looks like for now, we're content with bringing this Doom down, continue to farm up the Radiant jungle.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, as we talked about, as the game goes later and later, actually, what is Ember Spirit doing? He is going in ham. He does have a Remnant away, but, oh, actually pretty close. They were also standing behind, hoping maybe to catch him, hoping his Remnant was a little bit closer on that high ground, but no such luck. It's one of those things where even if your team doesn't push so well, when you have the Reaper Scythe deleting people from the game, it just opens up a lot of space so that even this lineup, right, from Greece, it's not pushing extravaganza. They can get a lot of work done just with Doom being dead in the map. So, yeah.
We'll see if really Slayer can kind of come back into relevance at this point. Perhaps building into a Scotty right now for the little bit of chase that it provides them, but they are going to have their tier 2 pressured mid lane, and Doom still on the sideline for 20 seconds. Doesn't look like they'll be able to mount a defense. No glyph from the Radiant side either. So with the Fiery Soul and a little bit of extra attack speed from the Overcharge, presumably they will be able to bring this one down. That's almost the last outer tier tower for the Radiant side, just with the offlane one.
Relocate up top, and they just pick him off like that. With the Fissure as well, locking him down, and the balls actually hitting the Ember this time. They did not need any more damage, and the Reaper Scythe comes out. Like, that was a ridiculously quick and effective kill. And so now with the Ember down, once again, they don't have to 5v5 fight, but what is going on in this mid lane? Ludicrous business going on. Hex does manage to use that Fiend's Grip onto Lina, but Thug is just gonna run away, but here comes the Doom, and he is ready with the Dooming, but can he find anyone? No, he realizes that they'll probably just all escape, so nothing, no return kills on...
There's no follow-up even if they find a Doom there with Slayer down, so... I understand holding on to the Doom there, but yeah, it's overall a great win for Greece, and it feels like they're just more relevant at this point on all their cores. Even though Thug was shut down so heavily, he has 7 deaths on this Lina. I mean, he's outputting just enough damage to still be relevant, and is fairly close to that Aghanim Scepter upgrade, about 1,300 gold away from that. So they're just going to continue to put forth the pressure on this Radiant side. Aegis is about to expire in about 15 seconds, however, so I do need to be wary of that. But definitely finding momentum, and with that Reaper Scythe kill, still 35 seconds on the sideline for this Ember.
Yeah, also talking about this Ember, Scotty is a fine item for... Oh, what do we have going on, though? Okay, I'll talk about it when the top push is going down. It's a fine item on him. It tanks up, it gives you damage. It's kind of underrated. It also gives you that nice little utility slow in an AoE. Here comes Doom with the Doom, though, onto Sneaky. Laguna Blade coming out of Rubik. That's punishing, but now going to try to heal him up using both the Glimmer Cape coming out and a heal from Io. Glimmer Cape, of course, doesn't stop that pure damage, but if you can't find the Necrophos, it's a little bit harder to kill him. So, but there's going to be a beautiful vacuum again into an Echo Slam. Relax has been on point with these. They're killing off so many people, and they get a gem to boot. And Doom gets Necrophos, so he is down for 90 seconds, and they don't have outer tier towers anymore. It is base sieging time.
He got Necrophosed indeed.
Yes. No, you know, it's a technical term.
Beautiful vacuum once again. You touch upon it. Relax really being the MVP the Dire lineup, keeping them in this game thus far. Ill going to be ticked down pretty low with the Sleight of Fist Searing Chains combo, but Slayer just doesn't have enough on his own to mount this defense. I mean, he's going to drop the wave pretty low with that Battle Fury being able to cleave around, but the tier 3 now going to be brought down, and the Dire side going to do a Delta split to try and avoid that radius of the Sleight of Fist. Putting some damage into the range racks now. They're going to try and bring down Slayer, but he has the Remnant available to him, and they commit quite a bit to it. Unable to bring him down, and now the Battle Fury may actually back them off. They will opt to go for the ranged racks, knowing it has much less armor and it's easier to bring down. And as most of the lineup of the Radiant respawn, we will see.
Yeah, he couldn't land the Sleight of Vista. Slayer was trying. Actually, they're going in. The aggressive jump forward. Now a nice slithering crush onto 3. Rubik pulled someone somewhere. I don't know where they went. Spartan taking a lot of damage, but Glimmer keeps saving his life because the amp damage wasn't dropped on. Is this team fight just suddenly over? Slaughter still going after Slug, and Bane coming too. Bane might just use the Fiend's Grip. There it is. Big range, but a Relocate coming in. At the same time, Spartan going down. Ember Spirit doing a lot of work. Finally, the IO falls. Relax popping in. Used a vacuum, but nothing. No follow-up. Wall on cooldown in 10 seconds. Gem is just dropped on the deck, popping out of the IO like you expect. Lucy going so far forward. Sneaky gets the kill with the aura, I'm pretty sure, but now here comes Doom. There's a Doom up. Susie doesn't have anything, gonna get Reaper Scythe returned. And Earthshaker trying to run away, has a gem, so he wants to get out. And that was what was initially a fantastic fight for our Grease lineup is really bad. And actually, if Earthshaker goes down here as well, he's in a lot of trouble. He can't TP out with these.
They found him with the Sleight of Fist.
Does he have the blink? No, he's going for it, but surely the searing. Yeah, the level death. Oh goodness, I think he could have blunked because it was off cooldown, but he initiated the TP as the blink was coming off cooldown. So.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a panic, but unfortunate play from Ill. And finally, after a couple minutes of a lot of momentum and really great engagements, really nice spread out engagements and good moments of initiation, we see Grease actually overextend, and Necro on the sidelines for a minute, and with the waves pushed in as they are, it doesn't feel like the US are going to be able to get anything really significant off of this, but they take a nice engagement regardless. Yeah,
something else that's pretty nice is Ember Spirit's one of those heroes that you never want super creeps against you, but if you have a hero that you can have super creeps against you as, Ember Spirit is one of them, where you're like, this is fine, the house is burning down, but this is fine. So he is one of the better options for them. At the same time, even though Necrophos himself has been deleted, he now has the Ags up. I don't know if he had that earlier, he full bought it at some point.
Oh, he does have the Aghanims. Yeah, so I don't feel like he had it in this
I don't think he had it in the team fight. I'm pretty sure he full bought it after he died, deciding they wouldn't be able to push out. So.
Yeah, and Slayer picked up his Scotty from that engagement as well. So certainly not an item you see all that much on the Ember Spirit, but with the lack of right click, the raw HP is going to be nice, and the chase from the slow that the slow offers should help as well. So for now, things going to stagnate, but US dragging it back in their favor. Perhaps after quite a while of the Dire side dictating the pace. Still, though, with a pretty decent lead at this point. 5k in the way of net worth and experience for the Dire side. So, certainly anybody's game still. And Thug has picked up his full Aghanims on the Lina as well. They're going to smoke up as 3 from the lineup. And as 4, I should say. And with the Rod of Atos, they should be able to find out Thug. But the Fiend's Grip comes in from the side. BSJ. Gonna have the Fiend's Grip cancel, but they get the Doom off onto Saucy. Now they need to burst down Spartan before he gets that relocate off, but the Scythe will be there once again from Frozen. The Rubik with the plays, and a minute on the sideline after buying that Aghanims with no buyback. The Wisp is down, does have buyback, but this time the wave is pushed out decently so mid lane, and they will be able to translate this into, at the very least, a tier 2. A lot of spells being cancelled there, can be a little discombobulated, but Bane has his Fiend's Grip cancelled early on, yet they're still able to get that telekinesis and the Doom off onto Saucy, which takes away a lot of their team fight potential. With only 4 members thereby, without their Darkseer mid lane, there was no counter initiation with the vacuum that we've seen all so often.
Little miscommunication in top lane. They vacuumed and used at the same time, but either way, not going to get any more damage on this melee racks, and even if they did, it heals back up. But they're checking in. This is Max Roshan length. Oh, wait, the clock looks wrong for me actually, but yeah, it's Max Roshan length.
It's Max spawn. Yeah.
My clock looking a bit funky, but that is neither here nor there. And yeah, now that they have the BKB up on Slaughter as well, they haven't really been focusing the Slaughter for the Grease lineup, but it is something where now he is more durable. If he thinks he's going to, he can pop that BKB, and then the Reaper Scythe, of course, doesn't do the magic damage. It still stuns you, holds you in place, and if you do die, it'll apply the effect, I believe, but it doesn't do any of the magic damage.
Yeah, so it won't do any damage, so you need to right-click him down in the duration, more or less, which is certainly very difficult to do. But yeah, it allows him to get off perhaps some more influential crushes, and we kind of mentioned it early on that there's not going to be too many BKBs on the Dire side. So Slithering Crush going to be pretty effective all game long in terms of the team fight control. Frozen still sitting in the pit, maybe in a little bit of danger here. Dire Vision up on the cliff. Probably saw him walk in at some point. He's going to try and deny that double damage room, and actually going to blink forward with the Doom. Be able to purge that off. Relax. Going to be relocated out, but that's going to leave Ill. Fiend's gripped up all by his own. And they are going to be able to bring it down. They see the relocate effect as well. They're going to be able to do some dewarding on the high ground. And with no Darkseer nearby, they are going to leave Spartan to die off and be brought
still
down.
better than, I think, Darkseer going down. They're looking like they're going to try to hold this with just 3. Earthshaker has brought back. Okay, I understand now. There is the blink up, and he does manage to get a few. All of them on the high ground again. Relax doing work. Immediate TP's out that we see, but we've also got Reaper Sight coming out. That is Hex down. Now Bananas and Jam will follow, and oh my goodness, this Darkseer is the MVP. They're also going to pick up Slayer. Holy shit, he did it again. Like, I just have to say, he already vacuumed like 2 of them up there. You gotta know that this USA lineup is like, okay guys, like when they went in, they're like, guys, let's make sure we don't get vacuumed up there again. And this time he gets 4. Like, oh.
That is morally devastating, or mentally devastating. Team morale certainly going to be at an all-time low in this game. After having that happen to you for the second time, after a couple of nice pickoffs, you force out 2 buybacks. Probably need to back off out of the pit and at least find yourself some high ground vision. Radiant did put up this ward while they were in the pit, so felt fairly safe. But once again, it's just Relax all by his lonesome, getting them up to the high ground. Only the 1 Force Staff available to them from Lokarn, and they jump in for a big Echo Slam. Even though Thug was on the high ground, it almost kind of helped him out on the Lina. They were able to get his full magical damage combo off onto the whole lineup. So now, no one down on a big timer for the Radiant side, but this will probably mean at least their range melee racks up in the top lane.
Yeah, we can also mention that Darkseer has got a Lotus Orb. This is really powerful, right? You can protect someone from being doomed. You can purge off a couple of other things that are occurring to folks, like the stuns, although I can't remember whether it's a soft or a hard purge. I'll check that out in a second. So yeah, it just basically means that you can go a little bit more ham than you previously were.
Yeah, it's not quite the Aphotic Shield purge, I believe.
No, I think it's that soft one.
Yes.
It's where it'll get rid of stuff like holds. I think it'll get rid of the Nightmare, but it won't get rid of an actual stun. But I will actually check it out so that we can be all max knowledge.
They do find that first full lane of racks. As you mentioned, though, Ember Spirit certainly capable of dealing with these super creeps. So not a big deal just yet. But finding that engagement, finding that Roshan, going to give them quite a bit of a window here where they can assert pressure across the map, dictate the pace of the game, and already you're going to see the Radiant, or the Dire side, excuse me, start to establish some deep vision, deep aggressive vision here in that bot lane. See anyone pushing that lane out, try and pick them off with a Reaper Scythe and allow them to finally go high ground.
Yeah. So yeah, it applies a normal Dispel, which is just those basic ones, but still good.
And certainly just having someone poke at the high ground as the battering ram with a Lotus Orb on them is really not going to allow for an extremely favorable engagement for BSJ with a Doom target. So top lane, speaking of which, he'll be able to TP out into the trees and did go for that Octarine core. So at this point, Doom cooldown a little bit better, a little bit more favorable for them, but maybe Ag's Refresher would have been slightly better. Not sure how much the spell Lifesteal does for him. I mean, doubling up kind of the Scorched Earth effectively isn't bad, but I don't know about the Octarine core build altogether. Relocate bottom.
This is just a messy blink away. BKB is popped, but Slaughter's like, nah, I'm out. And IO trying to follow, but no such luck. Yeah, so everything's gonna calm down.
8-second BKB charge wasted from the Slardar there. But I mean, not the biggest deal. He really just needs it for engagements. Lokarn not going to be the one in the front lines right-clicking away, as he really doesn't have much in the way of item progression towards damage output. So things still looking very good for the Dire side, and they're able to continually push these waves in, aside from really Slayer, who is the only one feeling safe farming anywhere across from his side of the map, and is fairly close to a Daedalus if that's what he wants to pick up. But right now, buyback looking at 1,400 gold is going to keep him.
I think he has to save for buyback, obviously. He's going to pick up the Daedalus eventually, but he needs buyback just because they are down a lane of Rex. 1 Rex you can deal with, 2 getting harder and harder, right? So Especially, we're 42 minutes into this game. One Rax it's a big thing, but it's not nearly as big a deal as it could be.
Right.
Although Earthshaker is hiding in this little hidey hole. Not quite sure what he's thinking. He wants someone out of position so they can follow up. He can make.
They have a lot of vision as well, so I mean, he can jump. Of course, with the changes to the blink quite a while ago, he can drop a Fisher and then jump for an Echo Slam, give more than enough time for a relocate to come through. He actually deliver himself a smoke here. Not sure if the wave actually saw that courier come in briefly. See if anyone was paying attention from the Radiant side, but they're gonna bait out Thug for now in the lane, and it looks like the Radiant side are kind of well aware of this trap being set, and they're going to play fairly safely at this point. Look at the dire vision right now. We have one ward in the base, one up on the cliff, and one over in this bot lane, so really well aware of anything going on in sort of this hemisphere of the map, and really is showing in terms of the play right now from the US side. They're pretty much choked into their side of the map aside from their Ember Spirit, who is really the only one with a mobility tool reliable enough to keep him safe.
It's really interesting to buy it. I mean, it's always good. What's the right way to say this? If you have the gold and you can spare it, it's generally a decent thing to buy out the smokes just because of the timer that they're on, so that you can always have them for later. But at this stage in the game where your enemies are forced into their base because you have one lane of Rax and they know the rest of their base isn't safe, it's interesting, this smoke attempt, as you mentioned. Like, you're not really expecting anyone to be so out of position. So very ambitious play by Earthshaker.
Yeah, I mean, what else does Ill do, I guess, at this point? He has his blink and his force, so he's not going to look for anything really else.
Build Veils. It's actually something funny where Veil is a very unpopular item, but again, this is a game where I feel like they could greatly benefit from having a Veil on Earthshaker if he does deem himself to have that extra farm, and it is more raw damage output than the Aghanims, although Aghanims you could argue has other benefits, but I would love to see a Veil out on Ill.
It synergizes well with their entire lineup, so yeah, certainly.
Balls to the face, Dragon Slave, the heal from the Death Pulse, and it's also just fantastic. You know, you got Glimmercape gaming going on, right? Add in the Veil, maybe get some help out.
Yeah, Glimmercape is another story. I don't want to start getting salty about Glimmercape, but
they did nerf it a little bit, so it's not as bad, and I think that's actually, that nerf is why we're seeing more Necrophos. He was pretty much knocked out of the picks.
Certainly Glimmercape made him dumpster tier the way it was when it first came out. But relocate top lane, and the vacuum back onto BSJ. Going to look to take him down. The Reaper Scythe is fairly early, and with the Glimmer Cape, speaking of which, he will be able to back off towards base. So they do use that Reaper Scythe cooldown, and once again, stolen by Frozen. He's been excellent on this. I mean, albeit it's really hard to save your Death Pulse for afterwards, but Ill going to be caught out mid lane, and he's going to be scythed up, so he will be down for 100 seconds. Does have buyback available on the Earthshaker though, and will have Echo Slam if he chooses to expend it here. Waves are pushed out though, as you would expect them to be considering the state of the game. So really no immediate objective going to be able to be netted for the Radiant side. And Roshan minimum spawn still 1 minute and 20 seconds away.
Yeah. So Doom just going to be off doing doomy things with his Octarine core. It's kind of interesting. I think he's going for the Ags now. Maybe that's a BKB. I'm not sure. These heroes, they're lucky it's nighttime. None of them can see each other. I feel like the Ags actually would have been quite fantastic here, just because you do want to run at them, and yeah, they're on a lot of passives you block, but being able to have the Ags, I don't know the technical term for it, but the fact that it just as long as you're near, it like resets.
Right.
The Doom. But this, I'm gonna go look it up now so I know the technical term, but yeah, it's just really powerful. So
yeah, I mean, the one thing perhaps that you could argue against that is they haven't been able to really stop the relocate when the Doom comes out. So keeping him within the refresh radius would have been a little bit difficult in that sense. But if they're able to get the Doom off on the Wisp, certainly that's going to spell or bode well for them in their engagements. Top lane, though, they're going to find Lokarn. And that's actually a Reaper Scythe kill. And now they're going to look to re-engage with BSJ. He's going to be Yules'd up, though, and brought down into an LSA combo. Tries to get the Doom off, but the animation time is far too long. Slayer going to look to chase deep, but blink forward from the Necrophos. They're going to get the Scythe off, but it's a Lotus Orb Scythe. But Frozen is going to survive. And that's 2 minutes on the sideline for the Necrophos. They're more than willing to trade over their Slardar. Meanwhile, on the south side, they will find out Thug with the Fiend's Grip long enough for them to encroach upon him and bring him down. That's 1.5 minutes on the sidelines with no buyback. And unfortunately, once again, the waves are forced in pretty well across the map for the Dire side, but these are 2 big kills.
Funny story on the Reaper Scythe and the Lotus Orb interaction. Because both the Rubik and the Necro have the Aghanims, the way Lotus Orb interacts is if someone throws out an ultimate, if the person who has been Lotus Orbed has an Aghanims, the reflected ult is Aghanims, regardless of whether the person who threw the first ult had Aghanims. So, like, Rubik has an Ag, so it's not too much to worry about, but because the Necrophos also has an Ags,
right.
Anytime this gets reflected, it's just, yeah, we could be seeing a lot of people out of this game.
Certainly so, and Frozen Nullfield pretty much saving his life there, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he also wasn't super low. He was at like 1,000 health or something.
Yeah, I want to say he was like over 60% at the time. So lucky to survive that one. But once again, just so good at stealing this spell, and still has it for the next engagement for quite a while. So they're going to be able to poke at this. Rax Glyph is going to be forced out. 30 seconds on the sideline still for this Necrophos, and about 20 for the Lina. So they should be able to get at least a range Rax here. But a jump forward from the Darkseer. He's actually going to catch a Doom for his troubles, and Relax now in a bit of trouble. Ill going to try and re-engage off of it. We'll get an Enchant Totem off, but the Reaper Scythe is there, and it's going to bring him down in the fountain. And that's a minute and a half on the sides, and now they can certainly look to take this full lane of Rax. Lina going to respawn. 10 seconds till Necrophos comes up. They still have the Vacuum, but no Echo Slam on top of it now. And the first melee Rax will go down. Sleight of Fist Searing Chain's going to keep the Dire side at bay. And they're really not too worried about the raid. And there's a big vacuum onto 3 into a wall, but once again, no Echo Slam available. Slayer going to be coming into from the wayward side with a Sleight of Fist. Jump forward. Slithering Crush. Amp damage is there onto Relax. They're going to pop the BKB. LSA will land onto BSJ. But everyone else been isolated out. The Shiva's not going to do enough work. Thug going to be thrown in the air. Sleight of Fist on top of the Crush is going to bring him down. That's going to force the buyback out from the Darkseer. Saucy going to be next to fall. He has no buyback. And it's a ultra kill for the Ember Spirit as he brings down the Wisp. Darkseer the only one left standing. No one else on the Dire side with buyback. That's going to be easily 2 lanes of Rax coming the way of the Radiant, if not game. Relax completely out of the base right now, doing anything but relaxing all by his lonesome, man. He's going to have to wait at least 30 seconds for any of his comrades to come back up. We're going to see the US go straight for throne here.
I think as you said, I think it's GG. And this is Reaper Scythe power, unfortunately turned against the team with the Reaper Scythe, but what do you do when you're dead for so long? Nothing is apparently the answer. So finally Earthshaker coming back up, but he'd been out of that fight for what felt like years because of the Rubik's Reaper Scythe, and now they're working on this Ancient. I don't know if they can rally
the dream.
They have
Big
4
vacuum
seconds.
Echo Slam is the dream right now, but even then, do they have the follow-up? Jump forward, Relax, immediately telekinesed into the air. Frozen gonna be anticipating that one, and now Ill caught on the east side as well from the Slardar, and the throne gonna be dropped down here. The US, after looking a little bit shaky into that deep mid game, are able to turn it back around, and they take a decisive 2-0 here, and that is gonna keep them securely in second place to move on to that winners bracket in the playoffs.
Yeah, very well done for them. So yeah, well, that's it. I was really impressed by the comeback Greece was launching, but then unfortunately